Hey everybody, welcome back to another tutorial. Um, this tutorial we're going to start a crowd series. Just quick and dirty crowd stuff. How you can get crowds kind of generated pretty quickly and basically just have fun with it. I'm going to try to stay high level, not get super technical, and just kind of focus on kind of the end result. All right, so to start off with, we're going to use pre-made assets. So in my object level, I'm going to just type in biped. We're going to get these mocap bipeds, and I'm just going to choose mocap biped number 3. And here's our biped. And nothing happening. The animation type on this is set to poses. So let's do walks and turns. So now we should get a walk, which is terrific. That's what we want. We want to uncheck in place animation. So we get some forward motion, and we also want to take note of how many frames we have. And it looks like we have 25 frames. And these don't loop perfectly because they're just pre-made assets. We'll talk about getting kind of a looping perfect thing later on. Um, and this should be good for our biped setup. So next up, we just select our biped character here, and we're going to go up to crowds and just click agent. And then this dialog box is going to come up. We'll just call this agent human, and the clip name will change to walk. And then that puts us and dives us into this object context. So first thing I'm going to do is just delete these bottom 3 nodes. We don't need it currently. And then we're going to get this, which is the agent creation and then this load clips. In the load clips, we're going to go down here and just delete this channel and type in 25 for our loop. Um, and then we're going to do some customizing of this load clips node. So the load clips node is where you're going to load multiple clips. In this example, we're just going to do one clip to get you started. But you can you can click this plus and add as many clips as you want. So walking, running, that kind of thing. Um, Again, keeping it simple, let's go ahead and convert this to in-place animation, and then we're going to get an error message. Uh, how to get rid of this error message is we just scroll up under these locomotion settings, the locomotion node. Typically, it's going to be hips or pelvis or something like that, and it's built into the skeleton. So we're just going to click hips, and then the last thing we're gonna do is apply clip locomotion. Now we're gonna get our character walking to infinity, which is great. That's what we want. Cool. So next up, now we just kind of have this guy walking, but this is a crowd demonstration. So let's go ahead and drop down a crowd source. And basically what this is a scatter node, so it's going to scatter points for us. I'm not going to get into all these settings. You can experiment all you want. Let's go ahead and just crank this up to like a bunch of agents. We'll just say like 230. But you can see all of them, if I hit play, they're like robots, right? They're all walking to the same, they're walking exactly the same in sync, and that's not what we want. So we've got this randomize tab here. And what we're going to do is just go down to randomize heading and randomize clip time. So I don't know if you saw that. So now these are all kind of different. So we should get a little bit more of an organic crowd, and we do, which is great. That's what we want. So the last thing we kind of want to cover here is how do we get these guys kind of moving in a path. So for that, got a couple nodes. First up is crowd motion path. We'll tie that in, and you'll see that gives us these generated paths by our characters. And you know what? I'm going to go back to this crowdsource and we're going to go to density scale, lower that down, and then we're going to kind of increase this relax a bit just to kind of get a bigger crowd here, like a bigger spread. All right, that works. So now we've got our motion paths. Next up, we want to do a create a crowd motion path follow, which is this node. And then these will connect up agents. You can see here motion paths, agents, and then we get an extra input here. And what we're going to do with that is create a curve. And I'm just going to create a curve polygon, and I'm going to pipe that in here. With my cursor and this with this node selected, I'm going to roll my cursor over the viewport, hit enter, and this puts us in our curve mode. I'm just going to go to the top viewport like so, and then just create a curve. And then just hit enter. Now the curve is created that we've got here. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to my perspective viewport. And then with our curve selected here, we're just going to resample this and then output subdivision curves, and we'll get a smoother curve here, like so. Then we're going to go back to our motion path, and then we're going to see here's our group, and they're all following this motion path. Let's go ahead and make this a bit longer. We'll just go out to 1,000 frames, and we're going to see them all kind of walking together. And what's really cool with this is that with this curve, so this isn't simulated. This is all in soft level, right? So if I can go back to this curve here, hit enter, and at any point I can grab one of these points, can grab one of these points. It's been a while since I've used this curve tool. Let's see. Toggle transform handle. So just hit the K key. And now you can see we're adding points. So we can have multiple curves is basically what I'm trying to show. So if we can go back here, if we want to, we could even set it up like this. Let's drop down our crowd source to something reasonable. There we go. So you could take this curve, duplicate it a bunch of times here, and then I'm just gonna edit this. If I can, for some reason I can't edit. Drag a point, Shift C. Let's see here. So I'm just holding down the C key, going to edit mode. There we go. That's what I wanted. So now I can edit the position of this. So let's just grab a few of these. Just move them around a little bit. And then what I can do is just add a merge. Now we've got multiple paths. Now if we go back to our crowd source, we'll just up this a little bit. Oop. Oh, way too much. Sensitive slider. There we go. And then hit play. And we're down here. So pretty cool. Um, I'm going to end this video here. That should give you more than enough to kind of experiment with. You can see that it actually changed elevation too, so definitely play with that. Um, they're kind of at an angle. So have some fun with it. So for the assignment, you're basically just going to create a crowd, get it to follow some motion, and just have some fun with it. All right, that's it. Thanks, everybody.